The night Drake tried to reclaim his throne after the entire industry watched Kendrick Lamar publicly humiliate him. A 21-year-old kid from a forgotten corner of Florida stepped forward and basically screamed, "That comeback album? Yeah, one of those records might not even belong to Drake." And suddenly the entire internet stopped talking about diss tracks, stopped talking about charts, stopped talking about revenge, and started asking one terrifying question. Did Drake allegedly steal the one beat a rising artist begged him not to touch?
So I sent 10 songs through and they was all finna be on my album because I didn't want nobody to steal my shit because I know how people move. So boom, the one they took a liking to was the intro. Now the intro still dropped. I said, no, you can't have this song. He wanted me on his album still. He said, I'm gonna send you a verse through. Never sent a verse. I didn't give a fuck till I just went and listened to Iceman, and I listened to Little Birdie, and then I went back and listened to the intro of my first album. Twin, that's the only beat I've ever produced and sat there and produced. Don't rip my shit and repitch it like that, fam. That's fried. That's fried out and fucked up.
The craziest part? This doesn't even feel like a random accusation anymore. It feels like the continuation of a story the culture has been whispering about for years. A story involving smaller artists, leaked reference tracks, suspicious similarities, unexplained inspirations, and one giant superstar who somehow always ends up standing in the middle of the smoke while everybody around him starts connecting dots. Because this situation with 1900 Rugrat is not just about a beat. It's about power, it's about access, and it's about what happens when a young artist finally gets the biggest co-sign of his life, only to later feel like that same superstar allegedly reached into his creative pocket and walked away with something personal. Now, before anybody tries dismissing this as clout chasing, you need to understand exactly who 1900 Rugrat is and why this story exploded so violently online. This is not some random internet troll. This is a kid from Limestone Creek, Florida, population barely over 1,000 people, who literally clawed his way out of chaos, adopted as a baby, kicked out at 14, sleeping at friends' houses, working dead-end jobs at Walmart in Tijuana Flats while recording music through a Turtle Beach gaming headset in somebody's bedroom. This man wasn't industry manufactured. He wasn't polished. He wasn't strategically introduced through celebrity connections. He was raw Florida energy, loud, reckless, emotional, the kind of artist people feel before they even understand him. And then suddenly everything changed. One freestyle, one viral moment, one take freestyle exploded online and turned this overlooked South Florida kid into one of the hottest rising names in rap almost overnight. Labels started calling, festivals started booking him, the blogs started posting him, even the major artists started publicly showing love. Kodak Black noticed him, Lil Yachty noticed him, Lil Uzi Vert noticed him. But the biggest moment of all came from Drake himself. Right after Kendrick Lamar's Grammy domination with Not Like Us, Drake was overseas trying to rebuild his image. And during one of those emotionally loaded tour moments, Drake posted himself walking on stage wearing that hoodie with fake bullet holes, while a remix of 1900 Rugrat's song blasted in the background. That moment meant everything to Rugrat. Imagine being a kid from a tiny Florida town, and suddenly the biggest rapper alive is publicly co-signing your music to tens of millions of followers. Rugrat literally said he woke his girlfriend up in shock when he saw it happen. That was validation. That was proof he made it. That was supposed to be the beginning of something huge. But according to Rugrat, the real story had already started behind the scenes long before the public cosign happened. And this is where the situation starts feeling dark, because allegedly Drake's production team had already contacted him privately asking for unreleased music. Not one song, not two, 10 unreleased records. And Rugrat says he intentionally protected himself.
Till I just went and listened to Iceman, and I listened to Little Birdie, and then I went back and listened to the intro of my first album. Twin, that's the only beat I've ever produced and sat there and produced. Don't rip my shit and repitch it like that, fam.
Because he already understood how the industry moves. He claims he specifically held on to certain songs because he was scared someone bigger might take them. Think about that paranoia for a second. A young artist already feeling like he has to defend his creativity before he's even famous. Then came the one detail that changed everything. Out of all 10 songs, Drake's team allegedly became obsessed with one specific record. The intro track Rugrat had personally produced himself. Not a leased beat, not a YouTube loop. His own creation. The only beat he says he ever fully made from scratch by himself. And according to Rugrat, when Drake's side wanted it, he said no. Flat out no. That beat meant something personal to him. He kept it for his debut project. He released it himself. End of story. Or at least that's what he thought. Then May 2026 arrives, and Drake launches the gigantic Iceman rollout. 3 albums, 43 songs, live stream theatrics, ice sculptures, midnight chaos. The entire rollout screamed desperation mixed with dominance. It felt like Drake trying to prove to the world he was still untouchable after Kendrick publicly shattered the illusion around him. Everybody rushed to hear the music, including 1900Rugrat himself, and then he hears track 15, Little Birdie. Suddenly his stomach drops, because according to Rugrat, he immediately recognized elements of the same beat he told Drake's camp they could not use. He goes back, replays both songs, again. Then he jumps on Instagram furious and basically says, "That's my beat. Don't rip my stuff and repitch it like that." And once that video hit social media, absolute chaos. The internet moved instantly. Reddit threads exploded within hours. TikTok comparisons started flooding timelines. YouTube breakdowns appeared overnight. And what made this accusation hit harder than normal was the timeline. The communication allegedly already existed. The original song was already publicly released first. The alleged refusal already happened beforehand. Suddenly, people weren't asking if the similarities existed. They were asking why this situation sounded painfully familiar. Because the culture remembers. The XXXTentacion situation, the cadence accusations, the KMT controversy, the ghostwriting debates after Meek Mill exposed those Quentin Miller reference tracks, the conversations around the weekend giving records away during Take Care, the leaked demos, the alleged borrowed styles, the whispered industry stories. Every single old accusation suddenly came rushing back into public conversation at once. This wasn't some random artist attacking a superstar for attention. This was somebody who genuinely admired Drake, somebody who celebrated that cosign, somebody who viewed Drake as proof that his career was finally changing, which makes the accusation feel even uglier emotionally. If Rugrat truly believes Drake took something from him after building trust first, then this story stops being about music and starts becoming about manipulation. What makes this entire situation feel even more explosive is that the deeper people looked into it, the uglier the optics became for Drake. Because once fans started comparing the timelines side by side, they realized this wasn't some vague inspiration conversation anymore. This wasn't just 2 songs having similar energy. According to 1900Rugrat, Drake's people allegedly heard the original material directly from him before the release. That changes everything. Suddenly, the internet stopped debating coincidence and started debating intent. And once intent enters the conversation, the culture gets vicious. The craziest thing is how symbolic this whole moment feels. Think about it carefully. Drake spent the last year trying to recover from the public destruction caused by Kendrick Lamar. The Not Like Us era didn't just damage Drake commercially, it damaged him spiritually in the eyes of hip-hop fans. For the first time in his career, people openly started questioning whether the untouchable aura around him was fake, whether the image had cracks, whether the machine behind Drake had become bigger than the artist himself. Then right when Drake finally attempts the massive comeback rollout, 3 albums, live streams, giant spectacle, the first viral conversation becomes another accusation tied directly to originality. That's devastating. And here's what makes Rugrat's accusation emotionally powerful. He never framed himself like some jealous outsider. He framed himself like somebody disappointed, betrayed, somebody who genuinely respected Drake before this happened. That's why the internet reacted so strongly to his Instagram video. You could hear the frustration in his voice. This wasn't polished PR language. This was raw emotion from a kid who felt violated creatively. When he said, "That's the only beat I ever produced myself," people locked onto that line immediately because suddenly the story became personal instead of transactional. Now the internet is doing what it always does, digging through Drake's entire history looking for patterns. The XXXTentacion comparisons came back immediately. People revisited the old KMT controversy. Others brought up the Quentin Miller ghostwriting drama again. Then came the old conversations involving The Weeknd, leaked reference tracks, and rumors surrounding writers like Lil Yachty helping shape Drake records. Fair or unfair, once the audience believes there's a pattern, every new accusation feels bigger than it actually is because it reinforces an already existing narrative. And Drake's silence right now, that silence is haunting the situation. Because people expected some kind of immediate response, a denial, a slick Instagram caption, a cryptic bar, something. But instead, nothing. And silence on the internet doesn't stay neutral for long. Fans start filling the gaps themselves. Some think lawyers are already involved behind the scenes. Others think Drake is waiting for the story to burn out naturally. But every hour, without a response, gives Rugrat's version more oxygen. What's even more dangerous is that Rugrat already has the authenticity advantage in public opinion. He's young, raw, emotional, Florida-born, anti-industry in image and personality. Meanwhile, Drake represents the establishment now. Billion-dollar machine, major labels, corporate partnerships, giant entourages. In hip-hop culture, people instinctively root for the underdog when authenticity becomes part of the argument, especially after Kendrick already framed Drake as disconnected from real culture during their war. This controversy almost feels like an extension of that same wound reopening publicly all over again. And maybe that's why this story exploded beyond just music blogs. Because underneath the beat accusations and social media clips is a deeper fear artists have carried for decades. The fear that when powerful people admire your creativity, admiration can quietly turn into ownership. That your biggest cosign can become your biggest vulnerability. That once your art enters the orbit of someone more powerful than you, protecting it becomes almost impossible. Now everybody's waiting for the next move. Will Drake deny everything publicly? Will credits mysteriously change behind the scenes? Will lawyers bury the situation quietly before it grows bigger? Or will this become another permanent stain attached to Drake's legacy every time conversations about authenticity come up? Because one thing is already obvious. 1900 Rugrat has no intention of backing down quietly. And the longer this situation sits unresolved, the more the culture starts treating it like proof instead of accusation. That's why this story feels so dangerous right now. Not because of one beat, not because of one Instagram video, but because this controversy arrived at the exact moment Drake could least afford another attack on his credibility. The comeback era was supposed to freeze the doubts surrounding him forever. Instead, a 21-year-old kid from Limestone Creek may have accidentally reopened every old conversation Drake spent years trying to escape. And if the streets decide this accusation is real, then Iceman might not be remembered as Drake's resurrection at all. It might be remembered as the album where the culture finally stopped giving him the benefit of the doubt.